And Fox News alert, police releasing new surveillance video showing the person of interest in the Brown University shooting.
So this comes as the FBI intensifies its search for the shooter, who's considered to be armed and dangerous.
Brian Yennis joins us live from Providence, Rhode Island with the latest. Hey, Brian.
Good morning. Well, Providence police say they have developed a new lead, releasing new surveillance video showing the clearest pictures yet of the primary person of interest that they are looking for. These videos appear to show the potential gunman walking near Brown University at 2 p.m. on Saturday. That is just 2 hours before the shooting. The man is seen wearing a dark beanie, a surgical mask over his face, and a dark two-tone jacket. He's just walking almost casually. At one point, he stops, turns around, puts his arms behind his back, and just looks around.
I want to make a quick, just a quick comment, which is this guy is still at large as I'm releasing this video. So I don't have to be politically correct. We'll let them share a little bit more, but this is a terrible, terrible failure. The city of Providence, Rhode Island, they should feel insecure. They should feel unsafe. They should feel like their city is letting them down. And who am I? I am a countryman, a fellow countryman, who is concerned with this fellow countryman. And when I hear of a deadly shooting targeted on a college campus and the guy is still running around, and, you know, that's just, I just want to make that clear as to why I'm making this video.
This person of interest is described as a male, 5'8", with a stocky build. The FBI says this person should be considered armed and dangerous. The FBI is also now offering a $50,000 reward for any information leading to the identification, arrest, and conviction in this case. Now, the Providence police say they don't know what this person was doing walking around hours before the shooting, and they don't know whether the gunman specifically targeted the classroom where 2 students were murdered and 9 others were wounded.
I'll tell you that what I can tell you is that this individual definitely targeted the Brown University, because clearly we're here speaking about that. And I can also tell you that obviously it's something that...
Hold on. Did you guys hear what he just said?
I'll tell you that what I can tell you is that this individual definitely targeted the Brown University, because clearly we're here speaking about that.
Clearly he targeted the Brown University because clearly we are here speaking about that. Like, is that the chief of police? Is that their chief of police saying that? Yikes.
2 students were murdered.
Yikes.
And 9 others were wounded.
I'll tell you that what I can tell you is that this individual definitely targeted the Brown University, because clearly we're here speaking about that. And I can also tell you that obviously it's something that we're looking into as far as if there's anything else that he was targeting.
The FBI has sent more resources to assist in this investigation. Yesterday, for the first time, we saw 24 FBI evidence response team members conducting grid searches at and near the scene, searching through the snow, the bushes and shrubs. We saw them pick up several items: an empty alcohol glass bottle, what appeared to be a blue glove, anything that could perhaps have been tossed or touched by the shooter. What was surprising was that these searches were being conducted 48 hours after the shooting, right across the street of the engineering and physics building where the shooting took place, and in fact at one point on the very lawn of the shooting scene. The FBI was also seen in Tyvek suits going through the building's dumpster. The FBI's lab in Quantico is processing evidence, and agents are inside reconstructing the scene, documenting the trajectory of the bullets. Investigators say they don't have the gun, but they know that the gunman used a 9mm handgun. Also interesting, Brown University sent out an alert yesterday urging anyone that was inside the engineering and physics building behind me the day before and on the day of the shooting to contact them so they can interview them. Interesting note about that is obviously we are 72 hours now past the shooting, and also they canceled classes, canceled final exams and projects. Many of these students have returned home. Guys?
So Brian, we got a media reaction here on the couch when you said that the police is still saying that it was a handgun. Now, one of the eyewitnesses that said he saw the shooter and they locked eyes said that it was a long gun. Now, obviously, with guns, there are attachments to make a 9mm appear to look like a long gun. But what are the police saying about about that portion of the investigation.
Before he responds, I want to add on there as well, which is that in police investigations, you actually always have a contradiction as it appears. You have a contradiction of facts of what people are seeing, and that's due to angles, emotions, pressure, all this craziness. But what you have consistent is the same events. See what I'm saying? So I don't want people to start coming up with their own conspiracy theories, but people did see a long gun, but with pressure, emotion, and all this stuff, life, fight or flight response, adrenaline pumping, typically that's very common to see conflicting stories. Very common.
They have not cleared up that discrepancy. We have asked over and over again, and so have the press at these press conferences, to be clear about the weapon that was used. Josh Arubo, who was the PA essentially conducting the final review exam inside, he told ABC News yesterday that he looked dead right in the eyes of the shooter, and he described it as a long gun. So that is a discrepancy, but they were very sure here about the bullets that came out of this gun. It was a 9mm handgun that was used in this shooting.
Brian, the police are saying the suspect could be armed and dangerous, as you were reporting, but they say they insist there's no credible threat to the public. How can you have both?
Yeah, and that is something that is also a point of frustration here in Providence, because the question was posed to them, well, the shooter wasn't known to be a threat before this, and yet we have 2 dead Brown University.
Yeah, hold on. So you're trying to tell them not to worry about it. Don't worry, guys. The shooter's on the loose, but don't worry. You could go back to your work. That's like me. This is what happens with my wife. I spill something when I'm eating. Like I'm like drink and I'll go for a drink. I get some sauce from the food on the couch. And then I tell my wife, babe, don't worry about it. That's literally what I tell her. Babe, you don't got nothing to worry about. It's okay. Babe, it's okay. I got it. And then she looks at it and she's like, no, it's not okay. Look at that. And I'm like, oh, babe. I say that because I know I messed up and I don't want to see her reaction. That's when you say something like this. I'm not making light of anything. I am frustrated that there is a part of our justice system, doesn't matter where, but there's a part of our justice system that thinks that if they just tell people it's okay, go back to your normal lives, that nobody will react or we should just listen to them. And they have been wrong for so many times, especially starting with COVID. Now, as a Christian, my trust is in God. So I'm not going to, let's say, like, not obey authority. And that's not what this is about. But what I am saying is that it is extremely frustrating and you will harm the trust of people in justice systems when their eyes, their heart, their minds, their ears, everything is telling them one thing and then they're clearly saying the opposite, but without any credible information. Now you have an entire city or a town, school that is unsure, that is unsafe, and they're just telling people to just don't pay it any mind. You know, this reminds me of COVID-19. There is a lot of people like me, in my opinion, that from COVID changed their viewpoints because of what happened during COVID. Changed our entire viewpoints on politics, on everything, because of what happened during COVID, because of the mismanagement, because of the red herrings, because of all of these things. Now, again, as a Christian, I'm not removing Romans 13. I am not saying this is your excuse not to submit to authority. That doesn't get you anywhere. If you don't like Romans 13, then how about Hebrews 13? Like, it's going to be of no benefit to you to make their jobs even worse by running away, resisting. But what I'm saying is, like, there needs to be accountability. And if you mess up, Like me and my wife, I got to go there and be like, babe, I'm sorry. You're right. I messed up. That's hard to do when you're prideful. But the result afterwards is always good. It's just the ego is the thing that gets punched. And because we have a lot of ego and because our justice systems apparently have ego, they don't even want to admit when they are not fulfilling their duties because everybody wants to be defensive. And I am the one who actually supports our law enforcement. I support the men in blue. I support everybody who has to deal with us and our attitudes. This dude's pulling me over. Oh, crap. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's in the wrong for pulling me over. Don't you got anything better to do? Don't you got any other criminals? For anybody who has to deal with somebody like me or all of us, I commend them, especially when they put their lives on the line. So I know this isn't an easy task. However, we pay a lot of money in taxes and we give a lot to the government. There's a lot of resources allocated to these fields. So when we don't see them doing their part, it causes people to be skeptical. It causes people to be to have mistrust build up. It causes a lot of these things, and to simply ignore them and then go like this, nah, I can't see it. I don't hear you. I mean, I think that is the biggest travesty you could do. I think that is the biggest travesty. So to the city in Providence, Rhode Island, this is a gross mismanagement. All of these cameras around, we don't know where the guy is at all. We don't have, as I'm making this video, as I'm releasing this video, there's been zero capture. And the people are supposed to feel safe. That seems, but that sucks. This doesn't seem anything. That just sucks. That's just what it is. And I know that the police department, they feel like it sucks too. But I mean, just even that short clip of the gosh dang guy saying we know it's a brown targeted thing because that's why we're here. I mean, even that alone, it's like, come on. We don't have any better spokespersons. These things matter to the public. You got to address them. If you don't, it will harm you in the long run. You could just bully around and just be like, well, we're going to get it done when we get it done. I think that is a terrible move for PR, terrible move. And yeah, this is not good. So my thoughts and my prayers, I haven't actually prayed audibly, but in my heart, it goes out to those victims of the Brown University shooting. From somebody who recently finished college, it is very discomforting that like the security of college students, like college is a vulnerable place. That's very concerning, especially for someone who wants to have kids relatively soon. It is concerning that I'm allowing my kids to grow up in a time where college is not safe for them. And not just because of their decisions, but just because of the vulnerability of the school. It's just people can do these heinous crimes. Schools in general, you got to understand what people are saying when they're raising concerns about gun violence, when they're raising concerns about it. Now, again, I'm not the type of guy, you got the wrong channel that says, let's take everybody's guns away, because that's not going to help. That's dumb. That's just foolish. And you're not going to do that in this country. That's just, we were built on these principles of freedoms and really social contracts. It's a John Locke methodology, which is an ideology, which is we have to agree and trust each other with this agreement that I'm not going to attack you, you're not going to attack me. But when you break down the spiritual essence of our country, in my opinion, you're going to see the fabric of it break down, and we cannot bridge it together. We cannot link it back together. And I think, in my personal opinion, that's one of the biggest falls of our country, is we have lost sight of our religious foundation, the foundation of one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Like, that's what we founded the country on. And when you remove the foundation, the religious principle, yes, you're going to see the fabric start to break up. And when you try to patch it up, you realize it's too far for you to patch up. It's too far for you to bring together. And then when you try to bring it together, it goes back because that material that you're using to bring it together, because it's not religious. And when I mean religious, I mean spiritual. And I really mean based on the Bible, because that's what the countrymen, that is what our founding fathers had in mind. Whether you like it or not, that is what they had in mind when they put this country together. When they wrote the Declaration of Independence, the unalienable rights, that ideology came from the Bible. It came from their relationship with God in the Bible and Jesus. When you remove that, you're going to have a country that is very fragmented, that doesn't seem unified, and that is not the best place. I'm very hopeful for our country. I do see people being more aware of that. But with all that being said, I am not convinced that we can mitigate these type of events with just more laws. That's not going to help. We have to really get the country back to its foundation, because it has strayed away in an attempt to just be. It's not even about being nice or considerate. We have lost the foundation. And no, this is not a Nick Fuentes approach, which is we've lost our foundation. Our foundation is a bunch of white men. Like that is the most, excuse my language, asinine conclusion of the country. That's the most asinine version of it. No, the country wasn't special because there's a bunch of white men. They just so happen to be from Europe. But the country already had people in it. They were native to the land and they were taken over. So that is not what this country was founded on at all. This country was founded on the principles that came from the scriptures. That is what birthed the greatest country, in people's opinion, in human history. A country fully founded on the foundation of the Bible. You remove that and you literally have school shootings and mass shootings everywhere. It doesn't mean that if you go back to the foundation that there won't be any wrongdoings. That's not what I'm saying. But you would be a liar if you told me that our country doesn't feel disunified. I would think you're lying and you're hiding something because you're afraid of dealing with the truth. The truth is we are disunified. The truth is we don't know how to really bring everything together. The truth is you have one side accusing the other side and the other side accusing the other side. That is the basis for conflict. That is its quintessential meaning. So how do you course correct that? Easy. You bring the country back to its foundation, which is what unites us. We're one nation under God. We're one nation under God. We're not one race. No, that's it's ridiculous. But I understand what they're saying. And the reason that allows my ears to be perked up to what they're saying is my relationship with God. It allows me to have the patience that does not come from me, because it just does not come from me. But it allows me to have the patience, the love and understanding, the willingness to listen to what somebody that I don't agree with is saying. It's my foundation that allows me to do that. It's my foundation for me to see people like a Nick Fuentes, but see how they originated and understand it. Doesn't mean I agree with it, but I understand what he is saying, and he has a right to say what he's saying. And there are commonalities that I can see with guys like that and what they're saying. I don't agree with his overall position. I don't agree with his assertion of the country and what would make this country better. I don't agree with it at all. That's not even how the country was literally built, like physically built. It wasn't a bunch of white men. That is just not true. But it doesn't mean I cannot have common ground. And if we can return back to this idea, that I don't have to agree with you to understand where you're coming from, and we can return back to the foundation of biblical principles, the basics, instructions before leaving Earth. If we can get unified on that from a majority perspective, I understand there are people in this country that don't believe that. Unfortunately, that is not how this country was started. And that's okay. But we have to return back to it. This country has turned into a greedy country, very greedy nation, with leaders that are very greedy, politicians that go in humble, leave rich. Doesn't mean rich correlates to humility or a lack of humility. It just means that is the facts. You have politicians that go in one way and they come out multi-millionaires from being a public servant. That is strange to say the least. These are issues that are now being posed and that the American public they actually have an issue with. They actually have an issue with these things. Doesn't mean you can assume wealth in the politics, but when we see it coming from a very not finite, but peculiar or particular space in trading, and you have people who don't know anything about, and they're rich when they leave, this is what causes people to question down the aisle. So I don't have an issue with people assuming wealth. I don't want to attack people who maybe were just born with more money than me, that somehow worked harder and thought of something that I didn't think of that became very lucrative for them and their family. I don't want to attack people just because they have more money. That again, we are missing the point. We are attacking red herrings and smoke and mirrors, and they're fleeting away from us. I know I'm going on a little monologue here, but yes, we do need to change the prevalence of shooting innocent people. Innocent civilians are being targeted. Okay, these are terroristic threats. We have now breached human decency. These people who do these things are not decent individuals. So I do not need to respect the shooters who target civilians. They're not decent individuals. They have excluded themselves with that act, not of their right by God to be saved, but they've excluded themselves from society when you do things like that. And they would be under the mercy of society to bring them back. So when I see these things, it infuriates me, as it does most of the country. And it puts our security in jeopardy, as many Americans are feeling the exact same thing, seeing that. And then when you find out that the guy is still at large and people are saying, don't worry, you can go back to work. You can go back to, it's okay. He's a dangerous, and he only attacked here. Oh my gosh, you're missing the mark. You probably ruined whatever election that I don't know where they land in Rhode Island. A lot of people are about to lose their jobs saying stuff like that. A lot of people. I don't know how far people are not going to forget this. So gun violence is an issue, and gun violence is an issue in America. Gun violence is an issue. But the solution to these things have nothing to do with more laws. Make it harder for people to grab guns. We're missing the point. We have a deeper spiritual issue in this nation. And we are seeing the byproducts of that burst through the seams. The foundation that spirituality and biblical principles laid for this country to exist and flourish to what it is now are starting to fade. And these incidences, I don't see them as one-off incidences. I see them as a result of a nation that is losing its identity. A nation that is losing its identity. A nation that forgot what's on the dollar bill. The thing that we've enslaved ourselves to in this country. That's why you see prices it's out of the roof. That's what happens when a nation forgets its identity and starts worshiping the created things, starts worshiping the results, starts being proud of its accomplishments. This is what happens. People are confused. People are waging war on the citizens. These are, in my opinion, these are war acts. These are not just criminal activities. Mass shootings, they are people who are clearly declaring war from within. That's not a good place to be as a country. It's not a good place to be as a fellow citizen in the country. And we need to act. We don't need to panic. Just need to act fast. Which is, what are you going to do about it? Are you just going to fight fire with fire? Just get more guns? You're going to fight fire with water? No. It's not even with water. Yeah, it is with water. Trying to fight an oil fire with water. Restrict the guns. No. Gotta remove the oxygen first, guys. Gotta remove the flammable things. You need to make a decision, and I'm saying this to myself too. Are we gonna be a spiritual people again? Are we gonna decide to be a spiritual people again? Are we gonna decide to return back to the biblical spiritual principles that has allowed this nation to receive and achieve all that it has? It's a question between you and I. I still believe in this great country. I still believe in our leaders. I still believe in that city in Providence, Rhode Island, even though I still believe in them because I must believe in them. Not because I should, but because I must.